that's all about like creating a line or drawing a circle. Likewise, ellipse is there. So many different shapes are there, but we don't have to use the readily available functions that we have in the graphics.h library. Instead, what we'll be doing is we'll try to use some algorithm, we'll try to use some fundamentals that could give us some efficient processing, as well as we are using this thing in our computer system, so we need something to be very fast instead of using this readily available thing. Okay, so now we need to like know how these things are like made and how we can do it in the programmatical way. Okay, so before going to that topic, what we'll do is we'll finish our unit 1, and the very easy and the remaining thing is just a few input and output devices that you have to see. Okay, so I'll start presenting now. So I hope this thing is visible to you now. Okay, so we'll continue our unit 1 for the first 15 to 20 minutes. Okay, so now what it says is software standards. So very first thing, the very first package that was made and that has this ISO standard, and its name is Graphical Kernel System. So it was developed in 1977. So you can think of like that generation. They were having this kind of software, and this standard was used by like the people were using it to produce 2D and 3D objects. Likewise, this was very like difficult thing, or this thing that we have this assembly level language and all. So there was not that kind of high level language support, or kind of you can think of that you have been doing this thing in the C programming language and you are using Java and so many high level languages, or the medium or the intermediate language or the lower level language. So basically that English language is basically used to do all of this stuff. But earlier days it was not possible. So basically this software was not that good, but it was able to produce 2D and 3D objects. And then the next thing, what it says is then some kind of extension come to the GKS software, that is PHIGS. So basically what you are using right now is the PHIGS software. Okay, that is Programmer's Hierarchical Interactive Graphical System or Graphic System for 2D objects, and similarly PHIGS plus for 3D objects. So basically what you do is you just generally write one command, or you just write one statement, that is draw a circle or simply circle, or something you write like draw pixel, or you just need one statement to draw a complete thing. Okay, so that is included in this PHIGS software package, and that is also a standard one that gives you this many functionalities, that is object modeling, color specification, surface rendering, and picture manipulation. So now you are used to do this graphics software, graphics package and all. So now you'd be able to imagine this thing, that how easy it is for you to develop this kind of things, okay, in the computer graphics. So this is the software package that we have. And then another thing, that one term that is written over here, that is language binding. So what it says is we have one thing that is used syntax for accessing standard graphic function from higher level language. So that is what you are generally doing, or that's the basic thing that the students do. They just like get used to the programming language, and they use this programming language to develop graphical things. So that kind of language binding thing is now readily available. So even if you have this Java programming language, so over there we have this applet, and you can think of a swing or something like that. So it gives you that kind of liberty to program this thing with the help of higher level languages. And then one more thing we have is the CGI, that is computer graphics interface. So basically CGI, you already know, you must have seen some videos on the YouTube that CGI provides some standard to like create a high definition graphics, and which are not a part of this PHIGS system. Okay, so that is CGI. So basically you'll be able to directly interact with the objects, you'll be able to create the scenario on your machines, and that would be like very good. It would be having a very high resolution. So that is CGI, and then we have the CGM, that is graphic metafile. So what it says, it specifies standard for archiving and transporting pictures. So directly what you can do is now you can import any of the picture that you have from the outside world, and then you can do something with that picture. So that is, this kind of thing is included in the CGM. So basically PicsArt and all do this stuff, that you have one thing uh, from your library or from your gallery, and then you just import it in your system, and then you'd be able to do some sort of like filtering on that particular picture. So that is CGM. Okay, so now basic and very simple and very like important thing for the computer graphics that we have is the input devices. Okay, so basically all of you must like know this thing that okay, we have this keyboard, mouse, and all by which we can give input to the system, as well as we have some output devices. This is a very basic thing, so we'll just finish it in 10 minutes. So what it says is the most commonly available and the most system have a keyboard, one or more additional device, especially for interactive inputs. So nowadays you have this thing that is mouse, trackball, spaceball, joystick, digitizers, button box, and all. So based on the requirement of the application, based on the demand from the users, they are developing such kind of things so that you can give your input in numerous ways. So basically, that is the need for this thing. Some other input device in particular application are data gloves, touch panels, image scanner, and voice systems. So nowadays, these things are also getting adopted. Okay, data gloves, you must have seen this thing in some video, YouTube video, that in the VR system they are using this thing. Basically, what it has is it is having some sort of like sensors that is embedded in the glove, and then you'll be able to interact with the real world or in the input characters or the video characters. Keyboards, as we know, it is having some kind of like alphabets, alphanumerical thing, and that is how you interact with the machine. Basically, it gives you some kind of interface to interact with the machine. Okay, so yeah, keyboard is an efficient device for inputting such non-graphics data such as picture, label associated with a graphic display. Okay, so basically what you generally do is you try to associate or you try to add a label to any of the graphic device. So that is the basic functionality of using such kind of input devices. And then cursor control keys and function key are common feature on general purpose keyboard. So basically you'd be able to like go anywhere on the like on the input on your monitor, and be able to do some sort of like a particular thing from your keyboard, and that is the basic function of doing this thing. And what it says, allows user to enter frequently used operation in a single keystroke. So you have this thing in your mobile device also, that what you do is you just you use some special function keys and some sort of like readily available things, and what the if you are doing this thing in a single swipe, then it would be like printing some particular characters. So these are the basic features that you can use or you can avail from the keyboard. And then we have cursor control keys can be used to select displayed object or coordinate position by positioning the screen cursor. So we have this thing also in some like advanced keyboards. We have cursor control that is installed in your keyboard itself, and then you can use it to get that particular position or pixel on the monitor. Okay, so very simple thing. This is how a keyboard looks, and that's what it shows you. Okay, a mouse. So basically, mouse we have. Okay, so you already know what we do with the mouse is we can generally move, or we can select any of the, or you can start with any of the pixel from the keyboard, from the monitor, and you can start from that particular position. So that gives you a very efficient thing to start with from the particular position. So you don't have to go at a particular position or that at the start position, and then you have to start from that particular position only. But using mouse, you can go anywhere on the screen, and that's what we have. So earlier days, there was one wheel that do this purpose, like on the in the bottom, record the amount and direction of the movement. So it will basically record your movement, and if it do so, then you'll be able to go to any particular position. Another method for detecting motion is like nowadays it comes with the optical sensor, so that serves your purpose. Another thing we have in the mouse, it is moved over a spatial mouse pad that has a grid of horizontal vertical lines, so that detects movement across the line in the grid. So basically you'd be doing it on your like on your desk or on your like what it says is you have some mouse pad kind of thing, so that would track the movement. Okay, so like this is one basic thing that you have in the mouse. So since a mouse can be picked up and down without changing the position of the cursor, so it makes it relative to use in any position of the screen cursor. So you don't have to be like worried about this thing. If you pick up and put it down back at some other position, the mouse would remain at the cursor would remain at the same position. So that is one very basic thing about the mouse. Then we have trackball and space balls as well. So basically trackball, you already know, many many people are engaged with this space ball and trackball because of the gaming thing. So basically what the gaming thing gives you is like a 3D world like in front of you, and you can move in any direction. So it would be like open world RPG games or something like that. So in that you can roam around in that world like in any direction. So basically for that purpose you need a trackball or a space ball. Okay, so we have a little difference in the trackball and space ball, so that we'll see. Actually, the space ball is embedded with one sensor, so that would be able to like actually adjust or actually sense the pressure that you are applying to that ball. So based on the pressure, it would do some functionality for you as the developers have programmed it. Okay, so very high pressure would be like moving your character very fast, and a low pressure would be like giving you a slow movement or something like that. So that is the basic sensor that is embedded into the space ball. So now we have one more thing with us, that is a data glow, and what it says, it is used to grasp a virtual object. So yeah, this is one thing that we have. It is constructed with a series of sensors, as I told you, that detects hand and finger motion. So many of you would be like working with the deep learning thing. So in that also we have some object detection kind of thing. So how it would be able to detect an object. So basically you'll say that, okay, sir, we can do is we can create one particular yellow or some kind of fluorescent color that would be like that the computer would be able to easily track that movement or finger movement. Another thing what you can do is you can use a sensor as well. So if you use a sensor in your like hand glow or on your hand, then it can also give you trackable movements. So if the computer is able to like track your movements, track your facial gestures, then it would be easier for the computer or for the application to develop a certain thing. Okay, then what it says is that electromagnetic coupling between transmitting antennas and receiving antennas is used to provide information about the position and orientation of the hand. So many of you have seen the video of character being like wearing a particular cloth that is having some sensors, or that is having some kind of coordinates, that is having some kind of thing that they wear, and that the same thing gets recorded at the another end into the computer. So this thing is like widely used in the gaming world. So they try to track the facial gestures, movements of a particular character. So if that person is a famous character, then you need that kind of perfect gestures of that person. So that is needed in that case. And then we have one very good thing, that is a digitizer. So what you generally do with the digitizer is you try to draw something, or you try to use a pen like of device, and whatever you write on the trackpad or on the digitizer, you will be able to like produce the same thing onto the monitor. So basically you are giving something as an input to that trackpad or to that tablet, and the same thing gets displayed onto the monitor. So basically it is a very useful thing in the online teaching as well. So it would give you some sort of like very simple and very reliable things to teach you. So you don't have to, you'll be able to easily write some alphabets with this thing. So that is a digitizer thing. And yeah, we have this graphic tablets digitizer. So it is like easily available on the Amazon, where you can use this thing and you can connect it with your laptop, and whatever thing you give it as an input, it would be displayed on the monitor. Then the touch panel thing, that is widely and very simple thing. Like nowadays, many people use this thing to make it easier to input, to give something as an input to the computer. Touch panel allow displayed object or going to be selected with the touch of finger, that you already know. Some systems such as plasma panels are designed with this touch screen, but other system can be adapted for touch input by fitting a transparent device. So basically, you know, this technology can be added to your mobile phone that is not having this functionality. You just have to add a transparent thin film to the device, so that it could be able to take the input, or it would be able to sense the things that comes out from the outer world. So that is the basic thing of the touch panel. And then what it says, it can be recorded using optical, electrical, or acoustical methods. So basically yeah, you need something that can take this input. So now we can use this electrical signals or some optical methods also that could use this functionality to record the input from the user. So that is one more thing in the computer graphics. Okay, then we have light pens and then voice system. So light pen. So light pen is one thing that is used to like okay, if I say you have one computer and you'd be having one device that is known as a light pen. Okay, so now if you are reading some PDF, okay, if you are reading something online and you'd be able, if you want to highlight something, okay, some paragraph or some line in that particular PDF or in that online material. Okay, so what you'd be doing is you'd be using the light pen directly on the computer screen, and once you are able to focus on that particular line or particular paragraph, you'd be able to highlight that particular thing. So now you'll say that okay, yeah sir, this is a very like effective device or very good device that you can directly interact with the computer screen or the CRT screen, not the computer screen but the CRT screen. So what it do is it tries to communicate with the phosphorus coating. So whenever the electron beam strikes to that particular point, it will take that thing. It tries to take this thing as an information, and it is sensitive to this thing. So your pen will directly take that thing, that is the electrons that gets like that strikes this screen. It tries to take this thing as an input. So if you point at that particular point onto the screen, so it will try to get this information out of the phosphor coated screen. And once you are able to get this particular point or get this particular pixel, you can easily get any of the information that is on the computer screen, and you'll be able to like highlight that thing or be able to remove that thing. So it is totally dependent on the application that you have instead of using a mouse. Okay, an activated light pen point at a point, and then the beam set generates an electric pulse that causes the coordinate pixel of the position to be recorded. Okay, so what it says is it points at a particular point onto the screen, and what it says on the screen as the electron beams light up that spot. Okay, so that is the functionality of this light pen. So it tries to like concentrate on a particular pixel or on a particular coordinate, and if you point on that particular point, it will record that particular thing, and remaining thing could be added by the manufacturer or by the developer to solve the purpose. And then we have this voice system that nowadays you are using Bixby and the Siri and all. So instead of giving something from the keyboard or from the mouse or from any of this device, nowadays small kids are also using this thing that is the voice system. And also you know that one thing that it takes the input in any of the language or any of the regional language. So that is also a very good thing at this point of time that we have. So it will try to analyze the word, and it will try to understand the word, and based on the thing that you give or based on the thing that you speak, it will try to give you the same particular prediction, or it will try to give you the output based on the thing that you have given as an input. So basically there are so many things, algorithms that are associated with this voice system. One subject that will come in the 7th sem, that is natural language processing. You are going to study that subject also. In that, the whole thing is about the natural language processing and this voice system or the textual information that you give to the computer. Based on the input that you give, it tries to analyze that particular thing, it tries to understand that language, and it tries to predict something, or it tries to give you some output based on the given input. So now this NLP thing is there, and I'm taking that NLP lecture in the 7th sem. So there is a huge thing that is coming up right after this sem or after 6th sem. So you'll be learning this thing, that how the pattern, how this thing works in the computer system. Basically, if I say that, okay, people living in France speaks dash, so the computers would know that, okay, but obviously the answer would be the like French. So, so now this is what it says, that you have to analyze a complete sentence, because I'm saying that people like living in France. So you need to, the computer need to know that, okay, if it is the France, then it must be French, or if it is India, then it must be Hindi or some kind of language. So that is how it says, and that's how it will work, and it based on some probabilities that are associated with the language. So the probability of French or the probability of Hindi, if it is more, then it will definitely give you that answer. Okay, so that is what this Google system also do. So this is the voice system, and this ends our like first unit. And so basic things that we have seen is the very first thing, that is the introduction to the computer graphics, and then we have seen the advantages of doing this thing, and why we need this thing in our like computer engineering syllabus. And then we have seen the display devices. In that we have seen the CRT monitors, and based on the CRT monitors we have seen one thing, that how you can add up the colors in the CRT monitors. So that says that we have two more techniques that are like first thing is the beam penetration technique, and another thing is the shadow masking technique. Okay, and then these two techniques were like giving you an idea that how colors were added to the display and how it works. Okay, and then we have seen the two more categories of this display devices, that are emissive devices and non-emissive devices. So one was using the fundamental of creating electrical energy into the light energy, and another was like taking some like light from the external source, or light from bulb or some other thing, instead of taking it from the electric device and trying to draw a pattern on your monitor display. And then we have seen this flat panel, that is plasma, that were using two glass plates with some conductors attached to it in that horizontal and vertical um, way, and then that would make up a grid, and on heating it up it would give you a grid and certain sort of pixels that you can light up with the help of gas displays. And then once we are done with this gas display, and we were having very heavy device in our hands, so that's why we have eliminated the use of the plasma devices, and we have adopted this LED and LCD thing. And then we have used this LED devices that was very lightweight, as well as it was consuming very less electricity. The power consumption was very less, so we tried to use that thing, and that is a very good technology. Basically, we had the matrix of diode, or we have a grid of diode that do this displaying thing for us. And then we have seen this LCD thing. So basically, LCD was using two polarizer, and in between some kind of processing was like being done with the help of these liquid crystals, and this nematic liquid crystals would take up the form of the light. And if it can take any form of the light, it can easily like it can strike the screen with that light. And if the no voltage is applied, then it won't like display anything onto the screen. So I have shown you one video also that shows how this thing works together. If we have so many things attached, or so many things installed onto the display device, then if we think of this thing as a whole, then we'll be able to see an object or see an image based on that fundamental itself. Okay, and then yeah, that is the thing that we have seen. And then the next thing that we have is the input devices. So here we have a very simple thing, because we are like learning the computer graphics subject, we need to know all of this basic fundamental. Okay, so that's what we have seen in the very first unit. So I'll be uploading the same thing on your Moodle. And then if there is some system in your triple IT to take some test, or to take some kind of tutorial thing on the Saturday or something, if we get something like that, then we'll definitely do it on that particular day. Okay, but right now we'll continue with our lecture topics that we have. So we have so many things to cover in computer graphics, so we'll start with that thing only. Okay, so if everything is fine, if everything is okay, then you can drop a message in the chat box, and okay, we can proceed further with the graphics primitives part. Okay, and in the graphic primitive part, we'll see one topic, that is the digital differential analyzer, that would be able to, it would help us to make a line, okay, from starting endpoint to the, sorry, from the starting point to the ending endpoints, and in between we'll try to calculate the intermediate points. Okay, so if you are getting this thing, and if I'm audible enough, then you can drop a message in your chat box. Okay, just one or two person can write yes or no or something like that in your chat box. Okay, fine. Yes, sir. Yes. Okay, fine. Good, good, good. So now I'll share my second PPT, that is about graphics primitives. Okay. Yeah, one more thing I wanted to tell you is be ready with your calculators from now onwards. Okay, because we have to calculate few numericals based on the concept. So right now, if you don't have it, then it's not a problem. Okay, so now we'll start our unit 2, that is graphics primitives. Okay, so now we are going to a very important part of the computer graphics subject, that is graphics primitive. So please try to concentrate, else you have to ask your friends or or you have to take help from the book or some other persons if you skip any of the topic. Okay, so basic things that it says is we are going to learn points, line drawing algorithms, circle drawing algorithms, ellipse, scan line, filling algorithm, inside outside test, whether the point is inside the polygon or not. We can check it with some algorithms that we have, and then we have one more thing with us, that is the boundary fill algorithm. Okay, boundary fill algorithm is nothing but if I say you have a circle and you want to fill it with some particular color, then you have to use this kind of algorithm. Okay, see, in short, you will say that, sir, we have this thing, now we have drawn circles, so that is fine, we know this thing, but that is not the basic thing. That is not the required thing. Being being an engineer, being an important part of the society, you have to learn the basic fundamental of doing this thing, and you must know the detailed work of this thing, because the BCA students and the MCA students won't be learning this kind of thing. Okay, but you are learning such things, so you'll be able to say that, okay, I know the basic fundamental of drawing a line. Okay, with the help of some algorithm. So that is the advantage. Okay, and then we'll see the flood fill algorithm, character generations, line attributes, color and grayscale levels, area fill attributes, and then correct character attributes. Okay, so the very first thing is the point. Okay, so what is a point? So what it says is, it is done by converting a single coordinate position furnished by an application program into appropriate operation for the output device in use. Okay, so now basic thing is, if we want to continue with this like building and or drawing a circle or drawing some line, we need to know the very basic fundamental of a point. And if I say point, then it is like made up of two things. It is two values you'll be having. That is, first value you can see here, first value we have is a 3 and another value we have is a 2. Okay, so based on this point, we'll try to fill that particular pixel with some particular color, or we'll try to fill that pixel with something that we have. Okay, and if we are able to fill this thing with that particular color, we can easily make a circle, or we can easily make a line. Okay, we can easily draw a line. So that is needed. So what it says is, we have 3. Okay, that represents the x-axis, and another thing that we have is the line y, that relates to the y-axis. And then what it says is, we have to plot a point P at the intersection point of these two lines. So 3 and 2 are intersecting at this particular point, or you can say that, okay, they gives us one particular point, that is 3 2, that is over here. So we'll try to fill this particular point with some color. So we are filling it up with a particular green color. So that would make up something visible to the user. Else, if you don't have this thing, that you won't be able to draw something on the computer screen. So if you have this information, you'd be able to draw something on the screen. So now you have this information, that is point P, that is having this value 3 and 2. So we are able to draw this thing at that particular point. Okay, so now how we can do this thing in our C language or with the help of this graphics library. So what it says is, we have one thing that is named as set pixel. Okay, you can pass the value over here, and it will automatically take this thing from you, and it will draw some point, or it will do this thing for you. So you can directly use this thing, that is set pixel. Okay. So what it says is, to draw the pixel in C language, we use we use the function that is put pixel. Okay, as I told you, if you want it with some particular color, you have to use the you need that thing with the parameter. So you can directly pass that color over here. Okay. See, right now you'd be like saying that, okay, sir, this is a very simple thing. We can easily like learn this thing. But at the end, when everything gets combined, now you won't be able to get this topic or concept. You'd be like confused with the graphics library, and so at that time you'd be getting the problem. So it's better you just pay attention. Okay. Similar for retrieving color, we have one more thing, that is get pixel. So at that particular pixel, whatever information you would be having, it will simply return that thing for you. Okay, or return that thing to you. Okay, then what we have is the line. So line, basically you already know what it says. It is done by calculating the intermediate position along the line path between two specified endpoints. So as I told you, if you have two endpoints and in between intermediate points also you have, then you'll be easily able to draw a line. Okay, so over here we have 4 points that would make up a line. So this would be the starting endpoint, and another is the ending thing. So in between, if you have this information, then you can easily draw simple line. And then you will say that, okay, sir, we can do this thing with the help of the line equation also, that is y equal to mx plus b, slope हमारे पास है, ये है, वो है. But obviously वो आपने पढ़ा होगा स्कूल में, तो that you can do it. Okay, you can like put your values in that equation also, and you can draw a line. So that is a very simple thing. But what if we want an efficient thing? I'll say that, okay, वो आप लोग use करोगे, but that would take more time as compared to the algorithm that we have in the computer graphics. So for that purpose, we need to learn that thing. Okay. So what it says, the output device is then directed to fill in those positions between the input endpoints with the same color. So that would appear to a user as a line. Okay. So here they have like shown us in a blue color. So for some device such as pen plotter or random scan display, a straight line can be drawn smoothly from one endpoint to another. Okay, so what it says, if you have this kind of specific device with us or a random scan display is there, then it doesn't need this kind of information. Don't need that pixel information, or you can say this particular point information. We can just we can just start from a random position and we can draw a line smoothly. Okay. So that is a simple thing. And what it says is the digital device displays a straight line segment by plotting discrete points between the two endpoints. Okay. So that is what we are going to learn. It displays a straight line segment by plotting discrete points between the two endpoints. So what we are concerned with, the like calculating the discrete points that are in between the endpoints. Okay. So हम लोग देखेंगे, and along the from the equation of the line. Okay, as I told you, from the equation of the line you can easily get this information. Then we have one important thing in the computer graphics subject, that what it says, screen location are recorded with the integer values. But obviously, as we have seen just now, that is p that contains 3 and 2 informations that we were having in the integer values. Okay, so by this integer value we will be able to refer to a particular screen position. Okay, so what it says, the plot position may only approximate actual line position between two specified endpoints. Okay, so what it says, for example, line position of this thing, that is 12.36, would be converted to the pixel position 12. So, but obviously we won't be having that much accurate thing in our computer graphics subject or in our graphics library, that we would be able to get this much precise thing. Okay, that is 12.36. So what it will do is, it will always round it up to the nearest integer value. And if I say, I'll be having this rounded integer values only, then you will say that, okay sir, then definitely I am going to get the pixelated image. Okay, pixelated image ही आपको मिलेगा, but you won't be able to see that difference if you are dealing with line and circle and all. But earlier days you are playing the video games, in that you would be getting this kind of pixelated thing. So pixelated thing is nothing but the jagged appearance that you are getting because of this problem. You won't, it was not able to plot this thing on the floating points or the precision that you have. Okay, so that is a simple fundamental. And then what it says is, we have line drawing algorithm. Okay, so as you know, we have this Cartesian slope intercept equation for the straight line. There is nothing new over here. That is y equal to mx plus b, where m represents the slope and b is the y-intercept. That is, it describes the point at which the line passes from the like y-axis. Okay, the point or the particular, you can say a particular uh, position at which this from which this line passes. Okay, so that is the y-intercept. It is b, and the slope is nothing but, you can say that okay, this is one slope. You have this kind of thing now, and then your line passes like this. So this is the y-intercept, that is indicated as b, and then we have one thing, that is your line. So this is your line. So line is nothing but the slope. Okay, that is the slope would give you that how far you want to go on the xy axis. Okay, see, basically right now what we are doing is we are just studying it with the help of this 2D object thing or 2D coordinates thing only. Whenever the 3D thing will come, we'll try to see it in that perspective also, how we can represent things in that manner. Okay, so that is the information that we have, and then based on the information that we have, okay, so that is a very simple thing. What it says is, it is possible to draw a line using this equation, but obviously you'd also counter argue me that, okay, sir, we can do this thing with the help of this simple equation, but what if I don't want to use this equation? We have something that is very efficient. So for efficiency purpose, we are using two line drawing algorithms that we have. First one is the DDA and another is the Bresenham line algorithm. Okay, so many of you must have heard this thing in the school also. I don't know if it is there in your syllabus or not. If this thing is like included in the CBSE board or some board, I don't know. But I think if I remember, there is something like this in your 10th or 12th syllabus, that is DDA algorithm, Bresenham algorithm. So you must be familiar with this thing. Even if you are not, then also it is fine. We are going to cover each and everything in this lecture. Okay. What it says, we can also use this algorithm in parallel if we have more number of processors. Okay, so processor thing is fine. We are not going to see this thing as of now because we are not dealing with the processing of this algorithms. हाँ ओके सो वेरी फर्स्ट थिंग देखो लास्ट टाइम आपके ही ट्रिपल आईटी के स्टूडेंट्स को प्रॉब्लम हुआ था डीडीए जब मैं इवोल्यूशन ले रहा था ना so they were not having this idea of like what is the full form of DDA algorithm. Okay, so be clear with this thing, that is digital differential analyzer. At the time of evaluation they were like blank, so what is the full form of DDA, they don't know. So be clear with this thing, else everything is going fine till now. You are getting my voice clearly, okay, and everything is visible to you, so there must not be any problem. Fine, so attention देते रहना थोड़ा. Okay, in between ऐसा लगे तो कहीं पे स्टॉप करना हो तो मुझे स्टॉप कर देना. That is fine. We are not in any kind of hurry. Okay. Regarding the video of tomorrow's, regarding the video of yesterday's, like Turbo C, many of you were not having the problem. I'll try to put it today itself or tomorrow if I get some time out of this, and I'll show you the same thing with the help of Turbo C also. Okay, so don't get worried about it. Yeah. So digital differential analyzer. Okay. So what it says is, it is a scan conversion line drawing algorithm based on calculating either delta y or delta x using line equation. Okay, so what it says is we have to keep two things in mind as of now. That is the delta x and delta y thing. Now you already know this thing, that okay, what is this delta x and delta y? Okay, you'll be getting it from the two endpoints that we have. You can easily get this information. Okay, so based on that, you'll be getting the value of delta x and delta y. Out of the delta x and delta y, you'll be getting the slope value. That is you can easily get the magnitude, whether it is a positive thing or it is a negative thing. Based on that, you can proceed further with our algorithm. See, don't get like yeah, okay. So like don't be worried like now right now, okay sir ये नहीं पता चलेगा ये, that will be clear to you whenever we proceed further with this topic. Okay, and then what it says is we sample at the line unit interval in one coordinate and find the corresponding integer value nearest the line path for the other coordinate. So what it says is we will be starting with some particular direction. Okay, so if you say that okay, we are going to start with the delta x direction, so what we will be doing is at each and every interval we'll try to increment the x value. Okay, so with the corresponding with this x value, incremented x value, what we'll try to find is the corresponding integer y value. Okay, with the help of some equation, and with the help of this equation we'll be able to find the nearest line path for the, like we'll be able to find the nearest coordinates. Okay, so if we are proceeding in the delta y direction or delta x direction, we'll be able to get the related pixels or the related coordinate as well based on the equations that we have. Okay, so we have to start with a particular direction, and based on that direction we'll be able to calculate the opposite or the corresponding thing as well. Okay, so selecting unit interval in either x or y direction is based on the way we process a line. As I told you, based on the information that you'd be having with you, based on that thing only you will be able to make the decision. You cannot say that, okay sir, I wish to go in this direction, I wish to go in that direction. That is not possible, because you have to keep this thing in your mind. Okay, unit interval, that means you can have like value in between 0 to 1, and you can like add up some value that is 1. You cannot have value bigger than 1, greater than 1. Okay, so you have to like proceed further, or you have to add up one integer value to the value that we have, that is the starting endpoint that we have in our hand. Okay, so now what it says is unit step direction in VDA algorithm. How do we able to will be able to make the decision? Okay, so what it says, we will be having few things beforehand. Okay, before like proceeding further, what you have to keep in mind is, if you want to process the line from left to right. Okay, suppose the value is like something 2 and 4, and the first endpoint is like 2 4, and another endpoint that you have would be like 4 and 6. So what obviously you'd be saying that, okay sir, we are if the starting endpoint is the 2 and 4, so we'd be going from left to right. That is the but obvious thing. So if we are going in that direction, so we have to make some decision based on that thing. Okay, so what it says, we have four things. That is, the slope is positive. Slope कैसे मिलेगा, वो आपको easily मिल जाएगा based on the given values in the quotient itself. Okay, slope आपको पता चल जाएगा based on the two endpoints that you have, and you have to check for the magnitude. If it is less than 1, then what you have to do is you have to keep delta x as 1. Okay, delta x1 क्या है, कैसे करना है, वो भी हम आपको पता चल जाएगा. Okay, and if the slope is negative and the magnitude is less than 1, then also you have to keep delta x as 1. Okay, similarly slope positive and slope is negative. If slope is the positive 1 and the magnitude is greater than 1, you'd be getting at some point the magnitude equal to 1.5 or something like that. So in that case, what you have to do is you have to start from the y direction, so that would be giving you delta y value as 1. And if the slope is negative and the magnitude is greater than 1, then you have to start with delta y that is equal to -1. Okay, similarly, if you want to process it from right to left, you'd be getting so many different things in like exam or in the tutorial part. Okay, that you might get the endpoints in a different way. So in that case, you'd have to make a decision that, okay, if I have to proceed in that direction or not. So what it says, if the slope is positive and the magnitude is less than 1, then you have to choose the delta x value that is -1. And see, now you will say that, okay sir, इससे होगा क्या, basically delta x अगर 1 है, चलो suppose, एंड अभी देखो मैं एक क्वेश्चन जनरेट कर रहा हूँ सो दैट यू डोंट गेट कंफ्यूज विद दिस थिंग. और अगर आप बोलोगे सर अगर डेल्टा एक्स -1 है तो क्या होगा उससे, तो बाय दिस थिंग, बाय दिस वैल्यू you'd be getting one equation to calculate the corresponding point. Okay, so if I have this information beforehand, then I'll be able to choose the equation that I have in the DDA algorithm. So delta x equal to 1 है तो उसके लिए मेरे पास एक equation है, delta y equal to 1 है तो I have one equation to calculate the y value. Similarly, if delta y is equal to 1, then I have one new equation that would be calculating the x value, and similar and so on. So basically you have this, you need to know this thing before we proceed further. Okay, and then we have slope thing, that is slope is positive, slope is negative, magnitude is greater than 1, then you'd be having delta y that will be equal to -1 and delta y equal to 1. Okay, अभी आपको नहीं पता है, but obvious है, you not be knowing that कि भाई delta x है तो क्या करना है ना. So then next slide says this thing, that if we have this thing, then how to proceed further. Okay, so we will be like looking at the few derivation that we have in DDA algorithm. Okay, derivation is nothing but out of the simple line equation, that is y equal to mx plus b, we'll try to get some value to calculate the corresponding point, successive x or successive y. Okay, so if we are starting from like x interval, that is delta x equal to 1, what we have to do is we have to calculate the successive y, because if I say that unit x interval, that is if the value of x right now, if the value is 3, then we have at the next step we'll be having the value as 4. Okay, but now we don't have something that will calculate the value of y, so for that we need some equation. So if we want some equation, if we need some equation, then we have to derive it first, and then we will be able to use that thing. Okay, so that is required at this particular stage. Okay, so now see, keep this thing in mind. What we are doing is we are doing it for unit x interval. Okay, that is delta x equal to 1. So we have this equation of line, that is y equal to mx plus b. What we'll do is we'll try to replace this x value with the intermediate points. Okay, so now the very first thing that we have with us is the first intermediate point, that can be denoted as x plus 1. But obviously if we have the endpoint as 3 and the value at the next stage we are taking the value 4, so that is the next intermediate point. Okay, so that would be giving us x plus 1. Similarly, it is not like that it is for 1 or 2, we don't know the values that we have, the number of points that we are going to have, so we have to take it for kth intermediate point. Okay, so if we take this thing into the consideration, then we have to like we have to take this thing as well, that is x plus k for our understanding. Okay, so that would be represented by yk, that is for kth intermediate point. So now what is the basic purpose of doing this thing, that we want each and every intermediate point before reaching to the final end point. Okay, that would be represented by k plus 1th intermediate point. So very the very the last thing that we can have. So again what we have to do is we have to replace this thing, or you can simply say it in the mathematical, we have to substitute with this thing, that is kx plus k plus 1. Okay, as of now we have this many things with us, that is y1 yk plus 1. Now the next step says that subtract the yk from yk plus 1. So basically what you have to do is yk plus 1 minus yk. Okay, simply subtract, nothing else you have to think about, or nothing else you have to do. Okay, simply subtract करो, क्या होगा, ये वैल्यू आपके पास है, ये वैल्यू भी आपके पास है, subtract both the things and try to get something out of it. Okay, कोई लॉजिक मत लगाओ, अभी सिंपली सब्स्टिट्यूशन करो, सिंपली सिंप्लीफिकेशन करो इसका. After simplifying this thing, so basically this thing you can now do it. Okay, being in the third year, and so basically you have to like multiply this thing with the m, and again the same thing would be needed over here, and the final thing would be like mx plus mk plus m plus b minus mx minus mk minus b. So after simplifying all the thing, what you'd be getting is this thing, that is yk plus 1 equal to yk plus m. Okay, don't get confused at any point, because these things are needed because we want to calculate the intermediate points at each and every stage. So we can't be considering a single point for our derivation. Okay, so the final thing that we have right now is yk plus 1 equal to yk plus m. Okay, ये yk plus m, yk plus 1 and all, ये क्या है वो clear नहीं हो रहा है, तो don't worry, we'll see one example of the same point. At that time you'll be easily able to get this thing. Okay, sir, I want to say this is the yk plus 1 and this is the yk. Okay, because we are doing this thing in the iteration form. Okay, so you'd be getting this value, and the most recent value is always needed, okay, for the calculation. So now using this equation, computation is faster than the normal line equation. So that's why we are studying this DDA algorithm. Okay, m is any real value, calculating y value that must be rounded to the nearest integer. So you'll say that, okay sir, if I am getting some value that is 3.5, so if you are getting such value, you have to round it to the nearest integer, that is like rounding it off to the further values, that is you can round it to the next value, that is 4 or 4.5 is there, then you have to round it up to 5, and 5.5 is there, then you have to round it up to 6. Okay, same thing you have to repeat for unit y interval, and what you have to do is you have to calculate successive x over here. Okay, so now if we continue likewise in delta y equal to 1 position, so what we need is we need something, that is we need this equation with respect to x term. Okay, So now if we are taking like delta y, then the very first thing we need is we have to change this equation, because we don't need this equation now. We have to change it a little bit so that it would be helpful to us in the derivation. Okay, so basically what we have done is we have taken our successive x. So basically what we have done is we have like modified the equation based on our usage. So simple क्या करना है, y equal to mx plus b है ना. So simply what you have to do is you have to change it so that we get something like this. Okay, that is x equal to y minus b plus m. ये भी आपको easily मिल जाएगा. Okay, इसके लिए अंदर कुछ हमने किया नहीं है, just हमने क्या किया है, mx plus b है तो x के लिए हमने m को वहां पे भेज दिया है. That is a simple thing in mathematics. Okay, and similar thing is needed to be adapted over here. That is for the first intermediate point. Similarly for kth intermediate point. So first intermediate point के लिए क्या करना है आपको, y की जगह पे y plus 1 रखना है. kth के लिए क्या करना है, y plus k. And similarly for k plus 1 के लिए क्या करना है, you have to do it is y plus k plus 1 as it is written over here. The same thing is to be adapted. We will be getting three values, x1, xk and xk plus 1. Okay, now what we need is we need to subtract two things, that is xk plus xk from xk plus 1. So what we have done over here is we have subtracted xk plus 1 minus xk. So this is the basic thing that you will get, and out of the simplification process you get some simple things that will look like this. So that is the basic thing, that is the basic equation that you get after simplification process. Okay, see अभी ये सब करना है आपको, तो you can easily do this thing on your note and paper. At the end you are going to get this simplified equation. Okay, so that is the thing we have whenever we consider delta y, or you want to proceed in the y interval and you want to calculate successive x at each and every iteration. Okay, similar things that we have right now with us is for delta x equal to -1 and delta y equal to -1. So if we are considering this case, then we have to consider this equation only, and if you are considering this case, then you have to consider this equation for successive x calculation as well as y calculation. Okay, so based on the numerical you get in the exam or in the tutorial session or something like that, so you have to just refer this thing. Okay, now you'd be asking that, okay sir, derivation is a part of our examination or not, or this thing is useful to us. Yes, you have to like prepare for this thing, or you have to practice this thing also. Derivation could come in your examination. Okay, so be ready with this thing also. So quickly we'll see one example, that is the DDA algorithm example. Okay, so basically see, now pay attention. So basically what it says is we have to draw a line, or this thing would be like in many terms, or it can come in many different terms. So it can be like rasterize a line, illuminate a line, draw a line, something like that. Okay, a b x y or something like that. So you don't get confused with this thing. Okay, and then we will be having two coordinates or two endpoints. So first thing says is a is 2 and b is 6 4. So based on the information we have seen till now, you can say that okay, it will be something like at this position, and then we have b 6 4. So we have two endpoints, but in between we don't know value which are the intermediate points. Okay, so we need to know this point. So how we'll be able to know? With the help of the process just now we have seen. So basically what you have to do is you have to calculate the slope first of all. Okay, so slope कैसे पता चलता है? That is, आपको कैसे पता चलता है slope? x2 minus x1 and similarly y2 minus y1. Okay, so by this we'll be getting the slope, that is the thing that you have. Okay, so अभी हमने क्या किया है? 6 minus 2 and 4 minus 2. Okay, so x1 x2, see this is the information that we have beforehand, that is x1 and y1, x2 and y2. Consider this thing as of now, x1 y1, x2 y2. So हमको क्या करना है? x2 minus x1 करना है, y2 minus y1 करना है. Okay, so that would be giving us delta y upon delta x. So based on this thing we are calculating our slope. So slope भी शायद हमने आपने पढ़ा होगा in the school itself. So basically what we have calculated is the slope, and the slope value is 1/2, or you can say 0.5. So what if we have slope, positive slope, and if the value is less than 1? So based on the information that we have just right now we have seen, what it says is Yeah, if the slope is positive and the value is less than 1, then what we have to do is we have to consider delta x equal to 1. So we got one information that we have to proceed in x direction and we have to calculate successive y. Okay, so वही हमको अभी follow करना है for this particular example. Okay, तो अभी देखते हैं क्या कर रहे हैं हम लोग next. Okay, so what it says is less, yeah, positive, the slope is positive, the magnitude is positive and the value is less than 1, so delta x would be 1 in this case. Okay, so we'll start with the very first value that we have, that is x0 equal to 2 and y0 equal to 2. You can consider anything, x1, y1 on, and whatever you feel comfortable, you can use this thing for your example. Okay, so what it says is plot the initial point as given. So in examination also you have to draw this kind of like grid on your notebook, and it's fine if you don't show me some color or something, but you have to draw it with your pencil or some pen, and you have to show me the endpoints. Okay, after you calculate each and everything. And then what it says is the very first thing you have to do is you have to increment. As I told you that you have to make one increment, that is the unit interval. So very first point you'd be getting is x1 equal to 3. Okay, but we don't know how to increment the y value. So for y value, if we know this thing that delta x is 1, then we have just now we have derived one value for y1. So right now the y1 value would be y0 plus m. So y0, what do we have? The value of y0 as 2 plus the slope that we have calculated, that is 0.5. So we got the value as 2.5. So what it says is we have to like round it off and we have to give the nearest value that is near to this value, and we have to round it off to the value 3. So the very first point that we have calculated out of the given equation is 3. Now again what we have to do is we have to again like proceed further. Again next iteration would be like incrementing the x value by 1, that is 4, and then again you have to use the same formula over here, that is y2 equal to y1 plus m. See, keep this thing in mind. We are considering y1 instead of any other thing. So y1 is 2.5. So each and every iteration will be giving you some value, and you have to you have to take this value only for your iteration, and then plus 0.5. 0.5 would remain same because the slope would remain same. Okay, and you'll be getting 3 value. Okay, if you are getting 3, then you don't have to do anything. Okay, keep this value as it is. Don't try to round it off to other value. पार्टे बिठाने की बात मत करना. Okay, in a very simple term, जो value मिली है वही आपको लिखनी है, and you have to put it over here in the pixel like this. Okay, similarly क्या करना है आपको, x3 calculate करना है. x3 is also same, incrementing the x value because we are going in the x direction and calculating the successive y value. So y2 plus m, y2 की value क्या है, that is 3, and the value of m, that is 0.5. So we have calculated 3.5. So but obviously now we have to round it off to the nearest point, that is 4 in our case. So 5 4 कहाँ पे है, 5 4 is here. So वो भी आपको मिल रहा है, वहीं पे ही प्लॉट करना है, अपने आप से प्लॉट नहीं करना है. Okay, so the very next thing you'd be getting is the by incrementing the x value, that is 6, and by incrementing the y value by putting it in this equation, that is 4. So but obviously we got the end point. So once we get the end point, we have to stop there. So we are able to successfully plot the or draw a line. That is a very simple thing that we got out of the DDA algorithm. Yeah, now you have to consider different cases where you are getting different magnitude, different positive negative values, and also based on that you have to like simply consider that equation and try to fit it in this iteration and try to find the points. And yeah, in the examination this whole thing carries 0.5 marks. So if you don't draw this thing in the examination, you won't be getting full marks. Okay, even though the intermediate points are correct. Okay, so you have to draw this thing in the examination. Yeah, that's it for today. And if you have any doubt with this particular session or